Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
The marathon's coming up. I'm looking right here at the amazing work Chemda did putting this together. 24 hours of nonstop how you doings. I see right away it's starting with Karen and Rod, our buddies.
Of course, and Karen won KATG Best New Guest, so I like to start it off with a fave.
Jay Fod is following that. He was just in the hospital. This is going to be great.
I thought, let's get the energy up right away. Let's get into JFOD.
Kevin Allison, I see, comes on later. Jim Norton, Steve Sharippa, Rich Voss. Adam Brown is coming from downtown. How about that? Chris Laker, it's been more than a minute.
Right.
Ian and Catherine, our mates from over there. I don't have the globe on me, but English somewhere. You know, that other kind of English. What are they saying? You know, but I'm very excited. The marathon is this Saturday, the Keith and the Girl Comedy Marathon. And we're revealing some of over 60 guest time slots on social media, including our Reddit. So follow us on @Keith and the Girl to find out where your favorite Keith and the Girl guest will be joining the show. You'll be able to watch live for free on the Keith and the Girl YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube. Spread the word about the show. It's going to be a party.
Yeah, we're starting this Saturday at 3 p.m. And this is the first time that Keith and I will not be in the same room together. I definitely think that that's an extra layer. So everyone's coming in from their home or studio or whatever, and you'll be able to watch it live, chat with each other, message us, call in. So spread the word. It's 24 hours of comedy while we're all quarantining. We're still all quarantining, right? While we're quarantining, starting this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. God, I can't wait to see you guys there. So fun. Oh, and our YouTube channel, of course, is Keith and the Girl. Check it out.
Don't forget, of course, keithandthegirl.com/awards. It's every awards show we've ever done, the hours-long shows that are the nominees, then the follow-up where the winners call. And if you have somebody in your life new to Keith and the Girl, this is an easy and fun and great way to catch up, I think. This person writes, speaking of the awards, listen to episode 469. We're at 3,300 something, right? 469 post-traumatic criers. And they write, holy shit, is the terrible comedy submission the same Matt from the Benny's Hat saga?
Is it?
Years ago. You got to check. That's what your VIP package is for. Take a listen. See if that is our buddy Matt Bayer. He's rest in peace.
Oh my God. I just when we do Q&A, again, also in your VIP package, when we do that, he looks into our past episodes and I'm always holding my breath. Like, what did I say 13 years ago, 15 years ago? It's so crazy.
Right. Let me mention this. It's a browser extension that finds the greatest deals online without you looking. Let's say I'm looking for headphones. Who has the best deal? It'll tell me if it's Amazon. It'll tell me if it's somewhere else. It does the work for me. It's a free browser extension. It scours the internet for promo codes, applies the best one, and adds it to your cart.
I can't believe this is legal.
Yeah, tech, gaming products, fashion brands,
it's
food
like
delivery.
It's like shopping with the best coupons without having to look for those coupons. It's just finding the best price on this exact thing. It's not you might want
I'm sorry. Do they have the breast price? I love it. That's why it's called honey. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I saved $25 buying furniture. I was just going to buy the furniture. And he goes, you want to save some bucks? I go, yeah, I do. Thanks. I love it.
I love being an adult. This is what it's like, children.
If you don't already have honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It's literally free, installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. Get honey for free at joinhoney.com/KATG. That's joinhoney.com/KATG. How was your weekend, Kenda?
It was good. Just mostly getting ready for the marathon. Like we said, it's the first virtual one, and booking people is always time consuming but fun. You know, you go through all the guests.
Yeah, I felt bad. Chemda says, "Oh, I'm doing this. What are you up to?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching football." And then I'm like, "Oh no, I sound like a piece of shit. I'm in the football game." Anyway, we're all doing our part.
Keith, you gotta get with the producer vibe, okay? You go, I'm doing research for the show. You know, our football segment,
Mm-hmm.
Chemda, that doesn't just come. I have to watch stupid football games, and then I could bring you the stupid football results. And then that's like a gift for you.
But I can't help but think, what does Trump think about these football games? I don't know.
It did occur to me for like a week, we haven't had to quote Donnie from his Twitter. Like, oh God, things aren't bad enough. Here's what this guy said.
Right. So we're down to the final two teams in the NFL.
Sure?
The next game is the Super Bowl, and I am confident in this. We're down to the Buccaneers with Tom Brady and the Chiefs with this new guy, Patrick Mahomes.
You know what? I called it with the Buccaneers until I found out about this Brady business. So I feel like he should just be disqualified. How does somebody keep playing? That's
after Deflategate, you mean?
Yes. That's like I'm a sex therapist. I had sex with one of my clients. But no, go ahead, keep going.
Did you break your phone and throw it in the garbage after you had sex with the client?
Well, I didn't want any proof.
You know what? I understand that, but I see Patrick Mahomes acting in commercials, and he is such a terrible actor that offends me more than cheating in the game we're talking about, and that's why I'm going Buccaneers.
Okay, then we have perspective.
I was watching a State Farm commercial. They're saying how you're going to save money. Sitting at the table is another great. It's like there's like three great quarterbacks, and Patrick Mahomes is one of them. And he doesn't have any lines, and he's pouring ketchup on steak. And I go, well, what's the joke? That he's a fucking idiot? Fuck him. That's how I made my decision.
I think
Tom Brady would have said, "Why am I putting ketchup on?" Because we don't know what other gag we should do.
No. Brady knows what he's doing. I'm not taking that away. He goes, "Oh, I can deflate this football. No one's really gonna care," and it turns out he's right.
Am I putting you down for Buccaneers? I'm a little confused.
No, I think the Buccaneers will win, but I'm going to now be upset about it.
Okay, look at you. Can you imagine not watching football and being bothered by it?
I have a gift.
It's like if the Gilmore Girls were irking me today. The Miami Heat, the basketball organization, they will start allowing people into their stands because, coronavirus has been going on long enough. They're bringing coronavirus sniffing dogs.
What?
First of all, dogs can get it. I don't want a dog by me.
Maybe they're attracted to that smell.
A limited number of ticket holders will be in the seats as well, provided they get past the dogs first. The dogs walk past you, and then if they smell it on you, they sit down. That's how you weed them out.
This is very suspect because then they should put this in front of schools and things that actually matter. No offense.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Put it in, federal buildings and stuff for those employees. What's happening?
Well, the price of tickets, I guess, is happening, right?
And, and I totally get it. You want that atmosphere. You want the experience. The players want the experience. But have you seen the talk shows that have separated audience members? I happened to see Wendy Williams in a bodega on the TV. And it's just... It's the new happy, the new normal of happy. Like, yes, I'm very excited to be one of 5 audience members. There's absolutely a vibe in here.
Right.
Woo! Woo! How long do we woo? Does it still sound like we're wooing? Are you adding extra woos so it doesn't feel weird? But it does, and you just have to let it go because otherwise you're just judging everything that's happening that's normal now.
Well, I see some of these events, sporting events particularly, where they can have 10% of the building's capacity. But that doesn't mean they spread them out. They still keep you in the 1 or 2 sections.
Oh, really?
Because then they have to open up the other sections. They have to open up the soda machine. They have to have a worker. They have to have a janitor. They're like, oh, we're allowed 10%. Then we hire 10% of our workers and you come through these 2 gates, just the same.
Are they also putting in 10% of cheerleaders for the football games?
2 real good ones.
Yeah, the ones that can hold a pyramid from far.
Right. Coronavirus sniffing dogs have been put in use in airports in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Helsinki. All right, then that's good enough for us. If you're nervous about the dogs, you can take a test. It takes less than 45 minutes. So you take the test, you just wait around, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Training some dogs to detect when a person is dealing with things such as too much stress has worked in the past. Too much stress, too little blood sugar, and even certain cancers.
I mean, this dog would have quite the time in the United States of America looking for stress on people.
Right.
It's just barking down the block. Who's not stressed?
It gets to a line. It doesn't just sit down. It rolls over. Like, oh, everybody's a mess out here.
He's exhausted until he gets to the Hare Krishnas.
A German study last year found that dogs were 94% correct in determining if somebody had coronavirus.
Good enough for me.
That's pretty up there.
I don't know if I can get pregnant that percent.
Larry King died of coronavirus.
We already miss him.
There is something when somebody dies, right? Just as if all my friends were watching Larry King when we'd go to a party. Larry King this and Larry King that. You couldn't stop them from talking about Larry King. I see him on social media. You think that's the way things were going?
No, I don't think anybody liked Larry King. Really?
I hated him as an interviewer. I mean, would I like him as a basketball player? I hated him as an interviewer. And he would say his gimmick is I don't prepare. I would love to say that about any job I had.
Right.
No, my gimmick as a waiter is I'm like the customer. I don't know the specials either.
My gimmick as an actor is you just keep feeding me the line. I mean, I can hear you. So
Right.
what's the problem? I think people who he interviewed used to get pissed and get up and leave because it's like, okay, we get it. You want to be fresh and curious for the interview, but you also should know who I am and why I'm sitting in front of you since you're so legendary.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a legend too.
By the way, that's how you'll get real information from me when you go, who are ya? You are a podcast.
What a great interview style. Tell me a little about yourself.
Right. Now,
Now
tell me more
about yourself.
Tell me
Have
all
you left anything out? Where were you the night of December 2nd?
Right. Here's Jerry Seinfeld on Larry King when he had the CNN show.
Lasted how long?
9 years, 180 episodes.
You gave it up, right?
I did.
They didn't cancel you. You canceled them.
You're not aware of this?
No, I'm asking you.
You think I got canceled? Are you under the impression that I got canceled?
Have I hurt you, Jerry?
I thought that was pretty well documented. Is this still CNN?
Don't most shows go down a little?
Most people do also. But yeah, no, I went off the air. I was the #1 show on television, Larry.
Do
you know who I am?
Jewish guy, Brooklyn.
Yes.
Okay.
75 million viewers last episode.
Boy, you don't take it so bad.
Well, that's the big difference between being canceled and being #1.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll be right back.
Jeez.
B-movie opens. B-movie opens.
Can we get a resume in here for me?
B-movie opens tomorrow. We'll be right back.
So here's the thing, like Seinfeld comes off as kind of a jackass, doesn't he?
You know what? Why you just don't want to take it anymore.
That's
Larry,
the thing.
I'm going to be here for half an hour to an hour.
That's the thing. Like
Okay.
it's why don't we talk about how, kindergarten was and then work our way up until college. It's just exhausting, but I think they've both proven to be prickly, right? Like Jerry Seinfeld does have that attitude a little bit of do you know who I am? But then again, we say Seinfeld, we're not confused if it's Tom Seinfeld or Cherie Seinfeld like we know. So yeah.
Here's an interview with a guy from Community. He's now a voice on DuckTales. I alluded to this fairly recently.
A luxury you can't live without.
A luxury I can't live without. Coffee. I really like good
It's not
coffee.
a luxury. You can get it anywhere.
I guess, yeah, I like good coffee.
I love coffee too.
I like nice socks.
Socks. Your socks, would you put in your shoes?
Yeah, I really love them. I like kind of like, cozy feet.
You're attracted to your socks.
I'm attracted to really nice running socks. Like I'm always looking for good running socks.
That's not a luxury, though. Coffee and socks are not a luxury.
All right, give me a luxury. What luxury should I have?
Private plane.
Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
Larry, come on. Like even this guy. He's young. He's newish. And he's like, Larry, then tell me one. How long is this shit? That's Larry King Now, his follow-up show.
But of course, like, I think when he says a luxury is coffee is I spend too much money on coffee. That's
Right.
where I spend my money. And luxury on socks is, hey, we're not talking about tube socks like Keith goes to the open air market, once a
Right.
year and replaces the holy ones. He's talking about ones that are pricey that you wouldn't want to. He's not even telling you the price. That's how pricey they are.
Turks and Caicos hookers. Larry, what are you asking?
Actually, Coke. That's okay. Let's get real. You broke me. That
Right.
was a good question. You know what? The follow-up is really what got me. You really opened me up. What's he like on a date? Favorite color? Go.
That's funny you said that because it's interesting to me that he passed away single, but was married 8 times.
Sanctity of marriage.
Right? The very first one, marriage didn't last a year. Married.
You know what? This is some shit, and I'm glad that being gay is somehow legalized now in the country. It was. We're gonna have to look back and go, that was illegal.
Right.
Okay, but anyway, it's legal now. But if it wasn't, that means that this man could have lived for about 87 years, I think it was 87 years, having gotten married 8 times, and you and your longtime quote companion
Right.
were never allowed to do it once.
Not what God wanted. Married 52, divorced 53. Married 61, divorced in 61. Married 61, divorced in 63. Remarried, this one, the only remarriage, in 67, but then divorced in 72. Like, does it get embarrassing at this point? Okay. How about number 4? Married 63, divorced in 67. Are you like, I gotta go a couple more years? Are your wedding invites funny? Or are they just regular invites?
Right. Do you have to say corny shit like third time's a charm?
Right.
4 times is the new third time.
Are the divorce lawyers at the family table?
They're the only ones who can afford a gift for your wedding at this point.
Right. Married 76, divorced 83.
Maybe somebody should tell this person about birthday parties. Because, a lot of people just
Right.
want to have their friends over and they want their friends to be obligated to come on the date that they want. Just say it's your birthday and have a party.
Married 89, separated 90, divorced 1992. The longest marriage was married from 97 to 2019.
Whoa.
Right. Now that's the longest one. He filed for divorce. It didn't take yet.
It's on record.
It's on record.
Not want to be with you before he died. So-
Right. And one of these, he was in the hospital when he got married. Like, what is the hurry?
Well, we know what the hurry is for her. By the way, are these all age appropriate, I assume?
It seems so because a lot of them are people that he worked with in radio, but I can't say for sure.
Oh, love is love.
Yeah. Let's see. He was transferred out of intensive care of COVID on January 4th, but had remained in the hospital. Let's see. Yeah, have you seen they have a mugshot is fairly famous of him.
No.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website, of course.
He actually looks cool.
It does, and I'm trying to figure out what it is, and it's like feels like the information was scrubbed. It was some kind of it's him and a buddy doing some kind of embezzling.
Oh, the buddy finally took the stick out of his ass, and as he was going, it propelled him backwards, and it hit someone in the head.
How'd he die? And then the guy said he was gonna try to bribe. He says, "Hey, Larry King, I want you to bribe Nixon when he's on as an interview for something. I don't know what. I couldn't find out. I feel like I'm doing a Larry King interview, And Larry said, I won't do it. And he's like, all right, I'm going to turn you in for this embezzling crime.
Oh, so
and then he was arrested. And then he was arrested.
Okay.
But
That sounds all right.
and
I
then
think.
spent money making sure that the word isn't out there. What happened? All right, good for him. I saw on Google whenever you start typing how many TI it finishes. How many times was Larry King married?
No.
Everybody wanted to know when he died. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What did I
That's one of
take?
those things where I saw it. Oh, so I saw it the day it happened. And then the next day, I told Xerxes, I'm like, did you know that Larry King died? And he's like, oh, he's was alive. And then I'm like, yeah, and he goes to look and he looks up news. And I go, what are you doing? That was yesterday. And you press the news button. Because he's like, it's not here. I think you're wrong. I'm like, what? You think it's news still that he's dead?
It's funny when
24 hours later?
somebody like that passes away, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know they were alive, but that's fun because that means the world just caught up to me. He was born Larry Ziegler, and the manager said it was too hard to pronounce. I had troubles right there. And so almost like a Mrs. Doubtfire thing, Larry chose the surname King, which he got from an advertisement in the Miami Herald's King's Wholesale Liquor.
Or that's just what he thinks of himself.
Right. He's like, no, I saw it in a shitty ad.
You know, my whole life, people have been asking me if I have a nickname so that they don't have to pronounce my name. I fucking should have said Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Your Majesty is my nickname.
I'm Larry the Best. I saw someplace had the best bedding available. All right, Larry. How'd he die? How'd Larry King die? He was looking up information and he learned too much. His head exploded. How'd he die? He's 87 in COVID, you know.
How'd he die? How did anyone die in 2020 and 2021?
Right. Dave Chappelle tested positive for COVID-19. You don't say.
I think the only reason why I was surprised is, you know, he's got enough money to be tested every day, to be more careful than other people, to fly private, to be around other people who have been protected. So that's the only surprise. Other than that, when, like I was saying on another show, him being interviewed, David Letterman, they're walking down the street in Ohio. He's showing them the neighborhood. And I don't know why you would start this way. It starts with Letterman fully masked and Chappelle with it around his chin.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's around your chin, take it off. And then by the end of the interview, Letterman has it off. And I'm thinking like, hey, listen, they could have been tested. They could have been, you know, quarantined. They have enough money to do all the things.
Maybe the interview lasted 2 weeks.
They are both very interesting. My God, if it lasted 2 weeks and that's all he got out of him. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The whole interview, I know I said this before, the whole interview, I felt like Letterman was like, say something black and oppressive, please. And then say that I've always been cool.
Right. Yeah. When I see all those pictures when Chappelle was on the road, why everybody's hugging each other. It's 15 people in a small room, you know, taking a picture together. Of course you're not safe. You can't be. By your pictures, you can't be. And I think everybody just chose to believe it because, you know, something in this world has to keep going. Chappelle just had the balls to do it. He said, fuck you. I'm looking at the picture that they put up. Michelle Wolf, let's see, Donnell Rawlings, Joe Rogan. Ron White is there. Ron White can't make it. You can't give him. He's not going to be able to fight COVID. Elon Musk is in the picture. Elon Musk is who? Hey, who needs him?
This is weird. A couple days before Xerxes saw that picture, a couple days before it was announced that Chappelle had it, and he showed it to me. He's like, look at these guys all around each other. Elon Musk is in there. And I'm like, and we both kind of concluded what I said before, that, oh, they must be, you know, high level of taking care, you know, like they must have all gotten their temperature taken. They must have all, you know, been quarantined. They must have all taken private jets. Like, you know, you're just kind of like, no one's going to let these people be in a room without all of this, right?
Right.
Elon Musk, we cannot lose Elon Musk.
Right. And then his girlfriend Grimes has tested positive. She's still out in these streets. She's still walking around without a mask, not staying inside, obviously.
Yikes.
And you think you should, Elon Musk and his girlfriend comes to Dave Chappelle's party and they go, sorry, you didn't pass the test today.
Yeah, but I also thought maybe they were one of the first in line for the vaccine. And that's why maybe they're feeling a little bit more comfortable. All of these things could have happened because they get whatever they want if they say the word.
Well, they got COVID.
Mm.
And no shit. And now all you people doing these indoor shows, somehow you're being safe too. Everybody's being safe until I see the pictures of you hugging each other with the mask off. And I used to think like I was making it up. Like I'm one of the, like they go, oh, I was at a party yesterday. I'm like, how did you just freely say that? No. We were apart. I went to the park and saw one of these outdoor shows. Nobody's apart. It's like strangers are handing each other margaritas.
My neighbors definitely had a party the other weekend.
Yeah.
Loud music, a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, they said under 10 people can be around each other. Yeah, the virus knows 10 people.
You know what? I was actually embarrassed. Like, am I supposed to call the cops? I'm like, did I just have a thought about someone's party like that?
Right.
Ugh. Ew.
Yes. Right. I want to hear Fran Lebowitz's thoughts on this virus.
I love her.
I didn't know who she was. I just saw that Netflix special for the first time.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that name in my life and that I should be embarrassed for not knowing, but no, I didn't. And I love her. She smiled like 3 times. I'm already like 4 episodes in.
Right.
Love her.
I didn't know who she was. I saw this special, couple episodes, right? Like 7 episodes. It's called Pretend It's a City, meaning everybody's in her way all the time. She's like, pretend New York is a metropolis. Move. Meanwhile, I can't help but notice that whenever she gives somebody the side eye or she bumps into somebody, you don't know if that's planted or not. She's in the wrong. The guy that bumps her on the subway is walking on the right side. She's walking close to him, kind of in the middle. So that now, is it fake so she can give the stink eye? She's wrong. She walks over to look at art on the subway. That guy's walking against the wall. She pauses, rolls her eyes so he can pass. She's wrong.
There's no way that you could be that curmudgeon-y and be right. You're not right. There is no way. I doubt that she would defend herself other than like, these are my true thoughts, so that's how I actually feel. But when it comes down to it, you're probably wrong a lot.
So Martin Scorsese interviews her and basically just throws out topics, tries to get her take on literally anything.
It's a podcast, but it's Martin Scorsese, so
right
there it is.
If Martin Scorsese went to a stand-up show, would his head explode? This guy, no offense to Fran, this guy is howling at every little thing Fran says. And sometimes it's insightful, and sometimes it's literally nothing. And this guy cannot quit howling. Did you notice that? It gets worse. Like episode 3, 4, it starts getting worse.
I did a little, but you have to believe that this got made because he's a huge fan. So this is his version of the funniest shit in the world.
I know, but if he goes to the Comedy Cellar, he's gonna be shitting himself. He never heard such thoughts.
I think he'd go to the Catskills before then.
I do a Fran now. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Let me look around here. Okay. Fish oil I have. Okay. Want a nice piece of fish? Okay, fine. I love fish. Some people can't eat fish, the mercury. I understand. But she has a lot of caveats, by the way. That's what I noticed. Okay, you can't eat fish? No problem. Okay, now you get your fish in a pill. Fish oil. Okay, take 2 a day. A day? A horse can't eat half of these monstrosities, but take 2 a day. Fine. What happened to a nice sea bass or pecan trout? Now, kids can't have pecans, nut allergies. Fine. Okay. But a fish pill? I'd like a people pill. or is that next? Because sometimes it's the only way I can swallow people's bullshit. And then Scorsese dies.
I'm ready to give you a show on Netflix, Keith. I don't know what you're talking about.
Baseball. Okay, fine. I don't like it. Some people like it. Okay. Helps people gain confidence. That's fine. Other than that, very, very stupid. And Scorsese just pisses his pants.
I just subscribed.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw that Food Network pulled the show Worst Cooks in America for season 20.
Because it turns out that's not true. People can cook worse.
But I think that's not what it means. The worst cook in America, the champion, was charged with child murder. So they found the worst cook in America. Yeah.
What?
Now think about that, though. Think about you're a host of one of these shows.
Wait, convicted?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's busted. Yes.
What background check? What intern was on that day?
No, he did it because he was frustrated at how he was yelled at on these shows. They treat these people like shit, and they got to take it out on somebody. Picture you went, you're an idiot sandwich, say it. And then you read in the news, well, that night he had to kill a kid now. Nobody wants to be called an idiot sandwich on TV. It's frustrating.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What was the murderous, whose child did he murder?
Larry King's.
Oh, okay.
BetterHelp. Use it. Relax. Better HELP. Okay. Henda uses it. Henda loves it. She's in love with it.
I am in love with it. Yes.
You can start communicating with somebody in under 48 hours and say what's on your mind. Not a crisis line, not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. Loves it.
I really do. Yeah. It was so much easier than going through my insurance or any other method that I tried. It was just the picking through the doctors was really great. They actually tell you the things you want to know about your doctor, like what's their focus, some reviews by some people. And you can tell by the way because they have to write their own bios, it seems like, it seems very from the doctor. And so you kind of get an idea of the kind of relationship you would have with them and the kind of work that you would do. And it was so much easier to pick than going through some other channel. It was fantastic. And I'm weeks in with this guy and I feel better every time because it's someone listening to you that's not even allowed to tell you you're a shithead. So, he goes, do you think that you're a shithead? You know what I mean? Like you get to decide. It's nice.
BetterHelp.com/KATG. That's better HELP. Join over 1 million people who've taken charge of their mental health. People love it. Special offer. Here it is. 10% off your first month. Use betterhelp.com/KATG.
I really think it makes a difference even after the first time. Like
right.
just
I'll tell
an outside person listening to the same perspective that you've been on repeat with it's so relieving.
I'll tell you somebody who hasn't used it. Listen to this story. Last time we talked to Chew, Newsy Chew on his show, Q&A in your VIP program. He called that show Anderson Chuper. He's a little interviewer, right? Let's see. He wrote, "Woo, what a fun show." I'm reading this from the forums. After talking about my insecurities, we get into it with the guest and their tagalog friend that it was clear the gang wasn't feeling some classic stories about our hosts, this week's controversial topic, and a rather electrifying revelation from Kenda. You don't want to miss this one. Also in that show, we talked about John Petrie, the guy that stole books that I wrote, that weren't finished, including literally everything I owned.
This is when there was no in the cloud. It was all on a floppy disk, folks.
Yeah.
Look that up. Look up the image. Floppy disk. It's like a record, but for your computer.
You know what? It was the cooler one. It was the smaller one. Still called a floppy disk, but it was the nice hard one. Yeah.
Oh yes, those were way more expensive.
Right. So we did record in Newsy Chew. Then we have our Wednesday, chat hangouts at keithandthegirl.com/chat. Hemda and I show up there at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that night, a listener, Brian Ford, said, "Hey, I just heard the Chew episode about John Petrie. I know he was arrested on I think drugs and stealing. And he was in Louisiana prison, and that's the last that I knew about it." And he said, "So I decided to look some things up and see what happened to him." Well, listen to this. I'm looking at the obituary of John Deforest Petrie.
I knew it. He was leading a death life. I knew it. And
He's so
that is
handsome.
my eulogy.
Right. He's very handsome. That's my eulogy.
Is he? Is that how he got
Maybe.
you to give him all his stuff?
Maybe you want to keep you don't want to give handsome people a hard time, right? So here's the obituary. John Deforest Petrie was born on January 31st, 1971 in Buffalo. I met him in New York City as a waiter. The second child of four, John came into this world with wide open cornflower blue eyes. See, everybody knows those eyes.
What are cornflower blue eyes?
I never heard that saying.
Is that actually Children of the Corn?
And blue eyes that took in everything like it was a great and wonderful surprise. Yeah, he took in everything. He took in heroin, cocaine, all my stuff.
Right in his eyeballs.
This sense of wide open wonder would define his personality for the rest of his life.
Who wrote this? Your dad?
Right. His family would move several times before settling in his father's hometown of Alexandria Bay, New York.
Alexandria from The Walking Dead.
Small world.
Oh
When
my
he was in elementary school. He would remain there until he graduated from Central School, where he was a star hockey and football player, as well as a drummer in the stage and marching bands.
What? We go back to kindergarten in the obituary?
He was also academically gifted. He would use all the
and name the gift.
He would use all these gifts to wait tables with Keith Malley. John did all of this as a teenager while honing his skills as a bass player, his primary and favorite instrument, playing in a traveling band with his father and his sister for several years.
Ooh.
Okay. In the early 20s, John embarked on his own musical journey.
What a journey. This is in the newspaper. It's a whole article.
I haven't heard a single note from him when we were fake friends. This would lead him to call New Orleans, Philadelphia, and New York City home.
No, that's because they put you in jail in New Orleans.
Right. That's right. He loved each city for their own unique charms with the passion of a lifelong resident.
Yeah, especially because in the new city, they didn't know you like the old city, did they? Until the internet came along and then you died.
He played bass on several records throughout the years.
Several records. This is where we're not being specific.
Right.
We knew what he did in kindergarten, but we don't know what albums he's on.
One of his bandmates recently described him as a, quote, 12 million watts of pure bass madness, somehow narrowed through the filter of 1,500 watts and 4 measly cabinets. So that
guy was on crack.
That flows off the tongue.
Sure.
That's how I'd like to be remembered. He was also a songwriter and a writer of short prose.
No, those were Keith's books that he was just shortening.
He loved anything you wrote. John loved books and clothes and TV sets, and John loved sports, all sports, and could talk about any of them at length with wicked joy and nearly encyclopedic knowledge. He was a dedicated Jets fan, a Mets fan, and a lifelong Boston Bruins fan. He clearly wasn't in it for the big prizes. It was true love. So they're saying he loved.
Wait, that was in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, don't fault him for these teams never winning. He just loved them.
He's not in for the big prizes, when they bring the awards over to his house.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, you guys get prizes? Is that why you guys watch football? You get prizes at the end?
Yes. Everybody's like, you're not part of the team. Yes, Fran, I am part of the team.
Is the prize Tostitos with salsa? Because that's what everybody brought over to your party.
John also worked in the hospitality industry beginning at the age of 14.
Oh, that's a waiter, right?
Yeah. Who has the time with all these things he's done? He loved getting to know all kinds of people and was a talented server and bartender. He was okay. He was fine. His main gift in this area, however, was cooking elaborate, delicious, multi-course meals that would leave the kitchen a wreck, but make your stomach, heart, and head so very happy.
Who wrote this? His mother?
It sounds like it. I've never seen them. I've never seen all these great dishes.
Also, name one. We went back to when he was 14 years old. You told us what?
Right.
He was a lover of several sports. He was a very good doer in the music department.
Right.
Also, please don't, in my obituary, say that I was a good cashier. Can we leave that fucking part of my life behind and just agree that I did other things well?
This would be like if my dad, who had nothing nice to say about me, had to write the obituary.
Yeah.
Right? He loved charts. You wouldn't know that by the way he kept his room unclean.
Right.
But what a great guy.
Doesn't it sound like his mom? Because it's like in kindergarten, I remember the suspenders that I made him wear. Like what part of his adult life is in there?
John did everything for his entire life with the enthusiasm of that cornflower-eyed child, as per earlier. He was described by one friend as a force of nature that a human body could not contain, and another friend likened him to a Beltane fire, which brings joy and laughter, but also consumes so much fuel it can only burn for a time.
Are they saying he was? Is this a drug? That
It must be, right? It's not a compliment.
It's not. It's like weird poetry rooms. Like if you had a book in front of you and just decided to pick a couple of words that were longer than the others.
He is also described universally as unfailingly kind.
Oh, yeah.
That would matter much more to him than all the rest. Yeah, okay. Again, like my dad. So nice, says a friend.
Also, unfailingly nice. Who talks like that?
Right. John ultimately settled in Houston, Texas. So I guess this was his most recent, where he was most recently.
Incarcerated.
Creating a home there with his cherished partner of many years. When? It wasn't that long ago. He was in a Louisiana prison. How many's many? Darlene Williams and their two cats, Teacup and Daddy Cat, which she adored and spoiled like human children. Perfect.
Please don't have children.
Many years. Following a stint performing in a Louisiana facility, John died in his sleep on May 23rd, 2020. To the devastation, so you know it was an overdose. To the devastation of all of those who loved him. He is survived by his devoted sister, Bonnie Petrie. If you remember, me and Bonnie got into it years ago. He said, "Oh, hey, John used to talk about you. How's it going over there?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, actually, he stole my book. Do you think? Do you have floppy disks that he may have left behind somewhere?" Well, if you knew John, you were probably into the same stuff he was. So no, thank you. I'm like, oh, this turned like she felt somehow I was blaming her. John died in his sleep May 23rd to the devastation of all those who loved him. Let's see. Survived by his sister Bonnie, her daughter Aiden, his loving brother Brian Petrie, Brian's partner and their daughter Alexandria. So I guess listing everybody.
No.
He was right, and they knew a person that knew a person, and the mailman, and he was preceded in death by his parents. So his parents were already dead, John and Kathleen Petrie, and his sister Danielle. A funeral service honoring the life of John will be live streamed at a later date. But, and this is one of these things that you can, it's a funeral home thing, and you can add little comments, and people are adding, you know, not deep comments like, you'll be missed, but no thought behind it. It doesn't say when the funeral service is or was.
Oh.
So I assume it's over, but you didn't even put it in the list. It would have been virtual.
This is public, right? So maybe you have to be invited. Do you have to be invited to a funeral?
No.
But you can just show up to a funeral?
You can just show up. I would have zoomed into this.
Maybe that's why.
Okay.
I hate him. I would have went.
Right. And that now, so this is what our buddy Brian was saying. He was in, he knows musicians, and he knows musicians that were in bands with John. And John often would is known for collecting people's property, and he would put things in he kept things in a storage shed. So the idea is that there's a John Petrie storage shed out there, and we're trying to find it.
Stop.
So it's gonna be like Storage Wars, and I'm gonna try to get into this guy's shed.
Keith, please don't bring back your hope that you're gonna get those floppy disks
Well,
and the information. Please don't. Please.
Well, let's say those are gone, right?
Let's just say, and then let's stay there.
It's so fucking weird. There's along with all my other stuff, there's a leather bag.
Oh my goodness, Keith.
Of these discs. And Bonnie reached out once. His girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, reached out saying, "Oh, I saw this bag of stuff. I looked it up. It had these are definitely the book. I looked up your show. You happen to be talking about these books. I have them." That was sent 5 a.m. September 11th morning, September 11th, 2001. And so I see the Twin Towers and stuff. The next day I write, I go, "Hey, hey, the world's crazy, right? Anyway, thanks for reaching out, blah, blah, blah. I haven't heard back. And I can only imagine she's like, really? I think we got bigger problems now than your books. That's my only guess. Why did she reach out and then not follow up at all? Or she did write from the East Coast. I think she wrote from New York. Did she die in the towers? There's all these weird things where my book trail just ends.
Oh, Keith, somebody just kept packing up your stuff and moving to their next apartment and just going, someday I'm going to find Keith Malley. And he's got this book called Just Be Normal. And it's funny, you guys. And I'm going to get it in the right hands. And if it's not to the Keith Malley, if one day I find out that Keith Malley died, I'm going to use that to sell it to a publisher and to give it to his offspring or whoever. But this book, Just Be Normal. And what was the other one?
Just Be Normal and a Decent Standard of Living.
A decent standard of living. If we need it at any time, we need it now. I don't care how much I have to pack and repack, and I'm moving to smaller and smaller apartments, and life is not moving the way that I wanted. But so help me, Keith Malley will get his army uniform back. That bag with a floppy disk that I don't even know what that is anymore, and there's no real place to put it in, even if he did get it back. But gosh darn it. Oh, this will be great. The world will know.
But what happened in 12 hours?
The towers came down.
Okay, it changed everything.
For some. Not as much as coronavirus.
It didn't even there wasn't even enough time to catch on for us to say never forget. It's another day. Yeah. Well, I know I don't expect to get this stuff back, but to find the storage shed would be so interesting. That worst case, I have somebody else's stolen stuff. And now I can hear about that story.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I would put money into that for sure.
So thanks again, Brian Ford. We'll stay on top of the sitch. I'm curious.
Boy, Keith Malley in the big city. Your first couple of years here. What, you were homeless for a bit? You know what? This marathon is coming, and guys, I want questions from you that we should ask these people, right? So one question that I just came up with now, because I feel like we don't think to ask this, because how? We should ask all the comedians, when were you homeless? Not
right.
Were you ever homeless? When were you homeless, and how was it? You remember Usama was squatting for a while. Keith rode the train
he acted,
for a couple days.
Usama acted like he liked that lifestyle, and we were just jealous, He had to go out and buy water to take showers in a bucket, but he acted like we were jealous that we couldn't save money. Then he starts getting paid for comedy. He doesn't live that way anymore. But these people loved it so much.
I do love it though. I love like a disgust. Like I have unwarranted like fantasies about that. I'm the kind of person who like, wouldn't a tiny home just be so lovely? Do we really need this room? But I'm recording from a closet. I do fantasize about like, quote, the simple life, but really the simple life is when you could turn on a light and it comes on.
Right.
I know that. I get it. Which is why I pay rent. But we've a lot of Jake Flores is, living above a glue factory.
Yeah, but he's high all the time. Like he doesn't know what he likes. Because the glue's in the air.
So we're going to have all these experiences. I think that should be one of the questions. When were you homeless? And if you guys could think of anything, like based on your experience with these comedians, what do they all have in trouble? Like when was the first time your dad hit you? But that's like kind of a bummer, That's
a big one. How about, do you have Keith's books? I haven't been asking. Who knows?
We can do that thing where we try to see if we can find a worse dad than yours. That might be hard, but if we can find it anywhere, it's in a pool of comedians.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
All right, so make sure you're part of it. Keith and the Girl, find us on YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell. That's where we'll be showing everything, and you won't miss it. All right?
KeithAndTheGirl.com